So before I begin, I'm just gonna say it, I've never really reviewed a TV show before, nor have I even read the comics, so I don't know how closely it follows the comic books, so this is going to be a pretty raw review. Alright, let's go. This episode was pretty interesting because a lot of shit happened to begin with. Team Oliver was shattered by a mentally broken Green Arrow. Not much to say other than I kinda have to side with Oliver during their arguing, because I mean, even though Diggle has been with Oliver since the beginning pretty much, he can't just assume what kind of shithole Oliver was going through. I mean, he clearly knew that Oliver had been broken unlike before, as he said so himself, but what I found rather astonishing is how quickly Oliver actually managed to recover simply from multiple occasions of Diggle and him arguing with each other. I expected his broken self to last a bit longer than this, that much I can say. I had hoped that the remainder of the season would have been Oliver in a mentally broken state, but that was not to be apparently. Then there is Felicity and that bunch of hackers she's with, Helix was it? Well, the evidence she was given on Prometheus being Adrian Chase was pretty good. I mean, had it simply been an instant reveal on the footage that it was in fact him, that would probably have been pretty bad, to be honest. But fortunately that was not the case here, as he used some kind of technology to blur out his face. Now the way in which this information was retrieved was not too unexpected. I mean, I didn't exactly expect Felicity to get physical with Prometheus. I mean, we found out that she actually needed to get her hands on that piece of technology somehow, and of course Curtis's balls did save the day through that. Well, not actually save the day I guess, but close enough. Let's just say that without Felicity and Helix, Prometheus would still be unknown to the public, but will of course now be publicly known as Prometheus. So I'm curious how the future episodes of this season will turn out, as we did see him drive off most likely out of town, as I obviously don't imagine he'll be remaining in Star City after it got out that he was in fact Prometheus all along. He'll probably not go to his mother's town either, seeing as that's the first place the police or any other authorities will be looking for him. So let's talk about the big thing about this episode then, which is of course Oliver's way of wanting Prometheus dead, because this is probably the biggest thing to talk about, I imagine at least. So when he's in the Major's office or whatever, he's of course confronted with Prometheus unmasked and is given the opportunity to kill him right there on the spot. Of course, had he done so, not the Green Arrow, but Oliver Queen would be branded a murderer and would most likely have to be on the run for the rest of his life, unless he turned himself in, which, let's be real, that's not who Oliver is, not even in that broken state that he was in at the time, and nearly for the whole episode in fact. So we then find out that Oliver has hired or requested a favor of none other than the Bratva to have Prometheus killed for him, as he no longer wants to be the Green Arrow. Oliver's team is completely against this naturally and try to stop the Bratva, but ultimately fails. Well, the first time I'm pretty sure they backed off, seeing as the leader Bratva guy, whatever he's called, I can't actually remember his name, the beard guy. Well, anyway, he spills the beans that it was actually none other than Oliver who had them come to Star City in the first place. And boy, shit escalates from there, but I won't be going too much into that dispute, as I did mention Oliver and Diggle before. Now, time and time again, they try and stop the Bratva, and actually one of these times were when they got the upper hand on Prometheus, so I guess in a way they should thank the Bratva for that, even if it wasn't intended in that way. Well, they might have planned it. I mean, it did really seem very well timed and all of that, so it probably was, to be honest, yeah. Now, what's truly big in this episode about Oliver and the Bratva is of course when Oliver is finally talked into at least trying to remain the Green Arrow without having the mentality of wanting to murder for fun, as he apparently have for the past 5 seasons. Oliver and the Beard guy's relationship pretty much imploded at this point, as the Bratva is not going to back off simply because Oliver wants them to, and this results in a small fight between Team Oliver and the Bratva, which of course basically ends in a tie, as Team Oliver manages to save the hostages that the Bratva have as leverage in hopes that Team Oliver will in fact let them do their thing. At the same time, Oliver does not want to kill a friend and makes a very smart move to force them both to evacuate the scene, as he force triggers the alarm in the building that they're in, forcing the Bratva to abandon the medicine that they're collecting, which was needed to make a street drug that would have sold well on the streets in Russia, simply to make the Beard guy's life a little easier. Lastly, it seems that Oliver and the Bratva are no more. They're more or less enemies, as it is said that the ones who were arrested will most likely want to have the man who got them into the mess end up dead or worse, so I imagine Oliver will no longer be asking favors from Russia. Well, I'd say that about covers it, I think. I mean, it was a pretty good episode, let's be real. It's not the best, but it wasn't bad by any means. Now, as I said before, I don't know how closely it follows the comic books of Green Arrow, so this is my first attempt at reviewing an episode from a TV show as well. I hope it went well. I mean, worst case scenario, I bet I'll get a lot of hate, so come at me. Well, anyway, I'll wrap the video up here. Let me know what you think about this episode if you've seen it, and if you did, please like this video if you enjoyed. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you're new to my channel and wish to see more content on Arrow, The Flash, certain manga series and whatnot. I don't exactly know what I'm covering yet. Anyway, this has been your favorite host, the Weeaboo Supreme Perm.